To mediate family disputes, you stir up fire and make people divorce. Introduction. Suyang travels through parallel worlds and becomes a dispute mediator. Previous mediators have been questioned for being mediocre, which has attracted netizens to question. Until the moment Suyang arrived at work, a series of reverse operations shocked everyone. Add a dowry before marriage. My mother said that the dowry will add another 200,000 yuan to give my younger brother a wife, and he will not marry if he is less than 200,000 yuan. Didn't we agree on 200,000 yuan? If there's more, there won't be. Then you can't marry me. Suyang said, you only have 200,000 yuan, her brother's girlfriend only needs 200,000 yuan. Marry her brother's girlfriend directly, net friendA girl with 3 sons, different sons and fathers. Female journalist. No matter what, the child has been calling you dad for over a decade. Suyang. That's right. Although the child is not yours, eat, drink, and use yours, net friend, sleeping trough, is this okay too? I smoked 3 cigarettes but couldn't figure out how to mediate like this. I can only give you 82 points for this operation, and I will send you the remaining 18 points in the form of 666. Chapter 1. Mediator Online, is the beginning so fierce? You are listening at novel full.audio. Bang. I can't live these days anymore. I want to divorce you. In an old residential area in the Magic City, an excited roar suddenly came out. With the sound of smashing things pouring out. This made the elderly people downstairs unable to resist looking in the direction where the sound came from. That's the Sun Peng family, right? What's wrong with the couple? You don't know yet. This community physical examination revealed that none of Sun Peng's 3 sons were his own. No way, his eldest son is 16, his second son is 13, and even his youngest son is 10 years old. Not even 3 of them. Not at all, I raised children for over a decade for others free. I only heard that the 9 sons born in the dragon are different, but I haven't heard about my own son's 3 fathers yet. Sun Peng is also pitiful. He runs big cars day and night to make money, and in the end, this is the ending. His wife Li Xiaofang doesn't look like a promiscuous person, how could she be like this? Know the face but not the heart. Look at this commotion, the TV station has already brought in people. Let's take a walk, let's also see the excitement. As soon as the parents finished speaking, an interview car with "online mediation" printed on its body appeared at the entrance of the community. The car just came to a steady stop. Outsiders remember that Sister Na rushed in with the cameraman Xiao Lu in a hurry. She ran and asked, have you reached out to Suyang? The heat of this incident is very high, let him come over quickly to help. Upon hearing Sister Na's question, cameraman Xiao Lu hurriedly replied, I can't get through on the phone, but I left him a message. He lives very close to here, and I believe he will come over immediately upon seeing it. This is an old residential area located on the outer ring of the Magic City that has not been demolished yet, without even an elevator. Relying solely on 2 legs to climb up makes it difficult for the camera to maintain stability, and the live broadcast footage is shaky. But this does not affect netizens watching the excitement online at all. Sleeping slot, is this live broadcast so fierce? Are all 3 children not biological? Squat down, eat melons in the front row. Have you ever violated Tiantiao in your previous life? Blame the ceiling of the world. Harmful. If you want to live a decent life, you always have to wear a little green on your head. Is this just a little green? Just the green giant. The most miserable man of 2023. Online mediation is a social and livelihood live broadcast program. The main content of its program is to mediate some trivial disputes in society. For example, who installed seismic equipment in their house. For example, whose dog stepped on whose land. And so on. Wait. The program has always been lukewarm and unpopular. However, after years of live streaming, a group of viewers who enjoy watching the excitement have accumulated. As soon as it started broadcasting, more than 3,000 netizens entered the live broadcast room to watch online. At the same time, Suyang, who was taking a nap, was also awakened by a deadly sound of warning messages. Who is it? He sat up impatiently. The beautiful nap was disturbed, and I feel very unhappy. Pick up your phone and want to see which guy is so annoying. After reading the news, the furrowed brow relaxed. Yoha. Come live. A complete face transformation. Hang up the internship badge and quickly leave. Suyang is an intern mediator in the program team of online mediation. At the same time, he is also a traveler. When he travels through this parallel world, the career system is immediately activated. Mediator is the profession he is currently experiencing. On the way to the scene, Suyang also took some time to look at the system panel. Host. Suyang, current occupation. Dispute mediator, level. Level 1 internship, impact value. 1/100, attribute point. 0, each level increase can earn 1 attribute, lottery frequency. 0, 10,000 impact points are exchanged for 1 lottery, constitution. 6 intelligence. 7, eloquence. 5, response. 6, skill. None impact value. As the name suggests, it is to use the current occupational attributes to have an impact on the people around you, in order to obtain varying amounts of impact values. For example, his current profession is a dispute mediator. So, the impact value needs to be obtained during the process of mediating disputes. The greater the impact, the greater the amount. And the influence value can not only be used to improve levels and attributes. It also has a more heart-stirring effect. Lottery. Every 10,000 impact points can be exchanged for a lottery opportunity. The rewards in the prize pool include not only luxury cars and houses, but also various incredible skills. Can Suyang complete a comeback in this parallel world and become a winner in life? Just rely on this. But, right. Imagination is full, reality is bone-like. Suyang is just an intern mediator. Not to mention mediating on the show, it's not even his turn to do odd jobs. After 3 days of traveling, I sat on a cold bench for 3 days. So, he only became so excited when he received Xiao Lu's notification. Start your career. Soon, Suyang arrived at the designated location. Before I could get closer, I heard cries coming from inside. Sun Peng, I have worked hard to serve you for over a decade, but now you are actually divorcing me. Is blood relationship that important? After raising them for over a decade, you haven't had any feelings at all. Can't I be the only one to blame for this? Don't even think about it, as soon as you drive, it takes 10.5 days. I am a woman, I also feel lonely, and I have needs. Can't you forgive me once? Suyang listened to the woman's crying and walked into the room, only to find that it was already crowded with people. There are uniformed police officers and neighborhood committee ants wearing red armbands. There are also a few lively neighbors watching. At this time, look for Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com. Sun Peng sat on the sofa and lowered his head to smoke. And his wife Li Xiaofang, on the other hand, confided in each other with a runny nose and tears about the hardships of these years. Sister Na saw that Suyang had arrived. Quickly gestured for him to come over. As Suyang approached, she whispered, "This matter has received a lot of social attention." The leader spoke up and advised not to leave. Do you understand? Persuade and do not dissuade. Hearing this, Suyang could not help but murmur in his heart that the cuckold was almost under his feet. Still trying to reconcile. Honest people provoke anyone. It's outrageous. But since Sister Na has said so. Suyang nodded honestly. Seeing Suyang's agreement, Sister Na also began to fulfill her role as a mediator. Sun Peng, this may seem difficult to accept, but you also need to think positively. Don't you think those adopted children also have no blood relationship? They still live in harmony. You are much stronger than them. The child you raised is yours. Right, no blood relationship, the child still calls you Dad. After Sister Na finished speaking, Suyang also joined in and agreed. The system is set to obtain impact values as long as participating in mediation causes an impact. But when he finished speaking, there was no movement in the system. After waiting for a while, a row of transparent fonts floated out in front of me. Impact value +1, Suyang frowned. What's going on? Mediate for a little bit. How long will the lottery wait until the monkey year and horse month? Chapter 2. Girls with 3 children, different children and fathers. You are listening at novel full.audio. Seeing someone start, Grandma Zhang from the neighborhood committee also joined the persuasion. Sun Peng, you are also in your 40s. If you get divorced on impulse, it will be difficult to find another one, and it will be even more difficult to have a second child. Listen to my advice, even if the child is not yours, they will still be filial to you in the future. Are you still afraid of not having a good life when they all marry their wives and become families? As soon as Grandma Zhang finished speaking, Officer Zhao, who was responsible for mediating disputes, also said, the saying goes that knowing one's mistakes can greatly improve. As long as she is willing to make changes, she can still be given another chance. The 3 parties responsible for persuading are probably instructed not to divorce them. Even if not instructed, many people still hold the idea of demolishing 10 temples rather than destroying one marriage to persuade. Especially for some elderly people. Divorce is a big deal. Even the neighbor who was watching the excitement on the side couldn't help but lend a few words. Sun Peng, those are 3 sons that many people envy. Just be able to take care of his old age and see him off, regardless of whether he is biological or not. Think about it, it's been over a decade, not short of these few years. You make so much money by driving a big car, but it's not that you can't afford to raise them. How can they live without you? Seeing someone help her speak, Li Xiaofang became even more enthusiastic. She tugged at Sun Peng's clothes and said, the child is so big that you have to carry a lot of feces and urine. Are you really willing? They've all called you Dad for over a decade, what else do you want? If you really want to divorce me, I might as well die. That voice sounded like she was the victim. Crying with a runny nose and tears streaming down my face. It looks extremely pitiful. And when Sun Peng saw this scene, he was also deeply entangled. At least this woman has been with her for over a decade. There is also hard work without merit. Is it true that they divorced because their 3 children are not their own? Are you too stingy yourself? How about giving her another chance? Sun Peng is hesitating. Seeing this scene, the others responsible for persuading couldn't help but smile knowingly. As long as you hesitate, it means there is still room for a turnaround. If they add more fire, this marriage won't be able to be divorced. Meanwhile, this matter has also received widespread attention from society. Just a few minutes into the broadcast, the number of online viewers in the live broadcast room has exceeded 10,000. And those who enjoy watching live broadcasts are all young people. They, who take marriage and divorce very lightly, do not approve of the ideas of the older generation. With the attitude of not losing out on anything, netizens were arguing fiercely in the barrage. Damn it! What do these mediators think? Is that enough to make peace? I'll go, if this falls on me, it will take minutes to kill the massacre. Who did an honest person offend? Being a receiver is not enough, but also being a big scapegoat raising others' children. I can't bear it anymore, it's a friction that puts a man's dignity on the ground. It's not just women who are afraid of marriage. After reading this, I'm afraid that I'll marry someone like this in the future. Every sentence is for the sake of women, isn't anyone considering this man? Life was already full of grievances, but now we have to look at this thing to get angry and let it go. Sister Na has been paying attention to the barrage content and seeing netizens so angry. She couldn't help feeling flustered in her heart. People like them who do live streaming programs have a big audience. The performance of this program is already not good, and the opinions of the station leaders are very strong. If you offend netizens because of this matter and cannot complete this month's KPI, it will be even more difficult to apply for the remaining funds. Now that the netizens are in high spirits, she can't help but feel a bit anxious. Persuasion is easy to provoke public anger. Is it difficult to persuade divorce? Without the guidance of the leader, there is no program that persuades people to divorce. And Sister Na also discovered it. The people who came to mediate were all women, including Grandma Zhang from the neighborhood committee, police officer Zhao, and myself. When they mediate, they naturally consider the female side more. Even if it is the fault of the woman, it will ultimately benefit her. If someone with ulterior motives is allowed to use the topic to elevate it to a feminist issue, it will create a situation of gender opposition. When the time comes, let alone the budget, the program may not be guaranteed. The top priority is to find a male mediator to carry out persuasion work. This not only represents the views of men, but also avoids those with ulterior motives from taking advantage of the situation. Can we find someone on the spot? Sister Na turned her gaze to Suyang. Cough. Suyang, could you help persuade me a few words? She silently whispered a reminder. Although Suyang is only an intern, he excels in his youth and handsome appearance. His voice should be able to replace the thoughts of some young people. At this moment, Suyang was complaining about the system being too stingy when he suddenly heard Sister Na's voice. He quickly regained his senses and replied, "Okay, I'll give it a try. First, work is important, and think slowly about things that affect the value." Seeing Suyang about to speak, the cameraman Xiao Lu also aimed the camera at him with great vision. "Sun Peng, that's because you're not right. How could such a small matter get to the point of divorce?" Suyang was unprepared, only thinking about what Sister Na had just told her, trying to persuade and not to leave. So he didn't even think about it and blurted out this sentence. Unexpectedly, when these words were spoken, the barrage exploded directly. Countless netizens seemed to have found an outlet and began to bombard Suyang in a frenzy. Sleeping in bed. This is still a small matter, isn't it? Damn it. Get out. Don't be so special, come out and be disgusting. Since it's just a small matter, please visit Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com and wish him a green hat every day in the future, with different hats and hats. I also wish his son a different father. Looking at his work card, he's just an intern. Is there a place for him to speak? Ma Dan, I really want to go in and beat him up. Watching the anger of netizens getting heavier and heavier in the live broadcast room, Sister Na couldn't help but feel uneasy. I originally planned to persuade Suyang from a male perspective. Unexpectedly, it directly provoked public anger. Watching the barrage full of insults. Sister Na only has one feeling in her heart. Offended netizens. This program is over. The insults from netizens did not affect Suyang. I saw him sitting next to Sun Peng, who was familiar with him, and asking, "Do all three sons have your surname?" Sun Peng didn't know why Suyang asked this question, but he nodded honestly. When he didn't know about this, he was very sorry for the child. His child naturally has to have his surname. That's enough. Suyang smiled and patted his thigh. Although the child is not your race, it has the same surname as you. Rounding is your child. What else do you want? Upon hearing this, Sun Peng was taken aback for a moment. And Li Xiaofeng seized the opportunity to start a new round of crying. There are still many good people. His son's surname is already his, and he's not satisfied yet. This iron-hearted thing. He forgot when the child calls Dad every day. I'm still planning not to have our mothers. My life is really hard. Chapter 3. This is the operation. Are you sure it's not a fire? You are listening at novelfull.audio. When a woman cries, a man must lose. Sun Ping hesitated and stuttered, I don't really want to divorce either. I just can't figure it out. There's nothing I can't figure out. Suyang quickly took over the conversation and said, I don't know how many people envy you for giving away 3 sons for free. Although the child is not yours, it doesn't affect them calling you Dad. If you want someone else to call you Dad, you have to include a meal fee. Don't be unsatisfied, you earned it. What Suyang said was a resolute statement, as if Sun Peng had picked up a big bargain. And his words successfully stunned everyone present. Say he's trying to persuade. It sounds like that's the case. After careful consideration, I feel that something is strange. Even the netizens in the live broadcast room were stunned by Suyang's actions. The curse has decreased, but instead, there have been more mockery. Cough, it sounds absurd with a hint of rationality. When playing me, I just try my best to coax the 3 turtle sons in my dormitory to call me Dad every day. It doesn't seem so difficult to accept that way. Sleeping trough, can that be the same? There's a big difference between big grievance and mouth high. Damn it, I almost got dragged into a ditch by you guys. This marriage still needs to be divorced. Suyang has no experience in mediation, and his intention in saying this was just to make fun of him. As a man, he knows how much it feels to have such a thing happen to a man. He longed for Sun Peng to divorce this woman immediately. But, right. The leader has orders. He still relies on this job to make a living in this unfamiliar world. So he could only rely on nonsense to complete the task. But when he finished speaking, a few transparent fonts floated out in front of him. Impact value plus 60, I haven't waited for him to react yet. The transparent font began to brush the screen in front of me. Impact value plus 115, impact value plus 210, impact value plus 345, Suyang swallowed a mouthful of water. Is this special? What's going on again? The impact value of proper mediation is only slightly increased. Nonsense, but giving so much. After a preliminary estimate, I gained over 2,000 in just this short amount of effort. It's enough to advance several levels. Happiness comes unexpectedly. Suyang smiled. Is it difficult to talk nonsense about the wealth code? To confirm my guess. Suyang added fearlessly, I must congratulate you. Not everyone can encounter this extraordinary wealth and prosperity. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone present was dumbfounded. Married for over a decade, none of my 3 children are my own. Wearing a green hat for more than a decade, being a big injustice for more than a decade. What is worth congratulating on? Where does wealth come from? And speaking this from the mouth of a mediator is more like a satire. Sun Pengduan's face turned red with anger. Even Li Xiaofeng forgot to continue crying, eagerly waiting to see what medicine Suyang's gourd was selling. At this moment, Sister Na was so nervous that her heart was beating wildly. Suyang looks quite reliable in his daily life. Why did such a little moth come out at a critical moment? Netizens already sympathize with Sun Peng's plight. Now that Suyang openly mocks the victims, the consequences Sister Na guessed right. Just as Suyang finished speaking, the barrage exploded. Damn it! Who's the one with strange yin and yang? Mediation is possible, but as for sprinkling salt on someone else's wound. You're really wicked, you know how to bully honest people. Why curse, can't we just slap him calmly? The same city representative has come out to take the order. Impact value plus 415, see the transparent font popping up again. Suyang understood that he had found the right path. It is indeed as he thought. If you want to affect the value, you must talk nonsense and not follow the routine. Isn't this his area of expertise? For Suyang, he doesn't have any other skills, but his ability to talk nonsense is exceptional. Even the Fuxing train that had run through his mouth couldn't catch up. But the problem is here. Want him to step on someone else's wound to earn impact points. This is a bit unfair. The non-existent red scarf on his chest always reminds him not to do so. So, as Sun Peng was about to explode, he quickly said, "Big brother, we men need to be more imposing. Forgive my sister. In law once. If you really get divorced, you won't even be able to eat a hot meal." What a pitiful thought. Sun Peng was already soft-hearted and didn't really want to divorce. Now listening to Suyang's words is quite reliable, and his anger has dissipated quite a bit. And when Li Xiaofang heard Suyang mention cooking, she found a point to play. Isn't it? I'll serve you 3 delicious meals a day. I'll cook instant noodles for you when I come back in the middle of the night. Where can you find a wife like me? Upon hearing this, Suyang couldn't help but glance at the nearby dining table. The leftover food on the table is dark. It has nothing to do with good food and drink. However, Suyang didn't expose it, but instead continued to follow her words. That's right. If you get divorced, no one will cook for you. Then you can only eat takeout every day, have barbecue today, and switch to crayfish tomorrow. Don't repeat it. May I ask if you feel uncomfortable? As soon as these words were spoken, the others present couldn't help but look at each other. Is this mediating? Are you sure you're not sparking? And Sun Peng, after listening to the downside of no one cooking, swallowed his saliva visibly. This also made Li Xiaofang, who thought she had the upper hand, dumbfounded. Eating delicious food every meal, who would feel uncomfortable looking for Shuyuan? www.zhaoshuyuan.com. Seeing Sun Peng wavering a bit, Suyang continued to persuade, "Big brother, we really can't divorce. It's not easy to be alone. You can earn tens of thousands of dollars a month by driving a big car, right? If your wife and children are gone, who will help you spend this money? Can't you even spend it properly yourself? Spending money is still a small matter, mainly because one is lonely. When you're lonely, you're bored. When you're bored, you can only go to the sauna, sing, massage, or go fishing. Okay, these are all secondary. Big brother, have you ever thought about how to solve your personal needs without a wife? Men can't hold it back. At that time, you could only look for those in their 30s, those in their 20s with some, and those in their 18 or 19 years old. It will be difficult to choose." Suyang kept babbling endlessly. The tone is heavy-hearted. I'm afraid that Sun Peng might make some wrong decision under impulse. But, what he said surprised everyone present to open their mouths wide. Everyone looked at Suyang incredulously. Is this young man really here to mediate the dispute? The scene quieted down, but instead, the barrage in the live broadcast room boiled. Sleeping trough, are you sure this is trying to reconcile? I've heard so much that I want to get divorced. Damn it, isn't this my ideal life? I have money to spend and do whatever I want. This wave of reverse benefits makes me shout, good guy. Not to mention anything else, the temptation of finding someone 18 years old after divorce is too great. If you don't understand, why do men like those who are 18 years old? Because no matter how young you are, you break the law. Chapter 4. Although the child is not yours, eating, drinking, and using yours. You are listening at novel full.audio. Impact value plus 317, impact value plus 420. The barrage was filled with ridicule. A few words from Suyang made the previously frustrated netizen burst into laughter. In their impression, mediators are all mere existences. I don't care about the situation of the parties involved, just watch the excitement on my own. Even if it's the program Online Mediation where Suyang works. They also subjectively believe that it is called mediation, but in reality, it is just a matter of muddling through traffic. Until Suyang speaks. They just realized that they could still play like this. This bizarre mediation method caters to the appetite of young people today, and the barrage is filled with apologies and praise for Suyang. Accidentally injured, it's a friendly army. Don't breathe so hard next time you talk, I almost can't hold my 40-meter machete. The little brother is handsome and eloquent. These few words really hit the nail on the head. It's said so thoroughly that this marriage will definitely lead to divorce, helping this man break free from the sea of suffering. Sir, he deserves to enjoy the temple. Record your merits and virtues. Impact value plus 575, impact value plus 610, watching the increasing impact value. Suyang's heart was filled with beauty. Stealing a glance at the system panel. Impact value. 3980/100. After just a few words, I gained nearly 4,000 impact points. Just a little more, I reckon we'll be able to draw a prize. Also beautiful in the heart is Sister Na. Current viewership. 10,000 plus, current viewership. 20,000 plus, current viewership. 30,000 plus. Looking at the constantly breaking data in the live broadcast room, Sister Na never let go of her lips. If it weren't for being at the mediation site at this moment, she could have laughed out loud. You can achieve such good results during working hours. In the past, she couldn't even think about it. Live mediation programs like theirs can hold up only 10,000 people during prime time. Now it has fully doubled several times. How could this make her unhappy? Sister Na knows, to create the current situation, topic gimmicks certainly attract attention. But mainly because of Suyang. Without the few words he said, the live stream popularity could not have been so high. The recommendation mechanism of live streaming platforms is like this. There are many live people and active barrage, which is why the platform provides traffic. Previously, Sister Na only planned to ask Suyang to say a few words before going on her own. Now that the live streaming effect is so good, she has decided to leave the opportunity to Suyang. This young man has a future. I believe he will bring even greater surprises. At this time, Sun Peng and Li Xiaofang also had their own thoughts. Especially Li Xiaofang. After more than a decade of marriage, she has a deep understanding of Sun Peng's personality. Honest, foolish, with soft ears. Just now, someone else's persuasion combined with his own crying almost made him dispel the idea of divorce. But unfortunately, a troublemaker appeared and just a few words woke up Sun Peng. Let him have his own careful thinking. This gave Li Xiaofang a slight sense of crisis. Relying on not getting divorced is not about Sun Peng. She is looking at Sun Peng's monthly income of tens of thousands. Although their living conditions are not very good, Sun Peng's salary is quite considerable. Even in the off-season, you can get 2,000 to 3,000 in a month. Having been married for so many years, he always turns in his salary without leaving a penny. This also helped her develop the habit of spending money recklessly. If I were to get divorced, I wouldn't have lived such a wealthy life. The thought of living a poor life in the future. Li Xiaofang couldn't help but feel sad and began to cry again. Upon seeing this scene, Grandma Zhang from the neighborhood committee suddenly felt a little softened. She advised, Sun Peng. You are an honest person. The extravagant and drunken world outside is not suitable for you. Having a wife and children is a complete home. As soon as Grandma Zhang finished speaking, a chubby aunt who came with her also spoke up. Sun Peng, I'm warning you. You're already in your 40s, you can't just think about what you have or not. Family is the most important thing. If you are a man, take on the responsibilities you should bear. Don't be in the midst of good fortune without knowing it. This chubby ant has a loud voice and speaks very impolitely. Give people a very strong feeling. It is this strong attitude that makes Li Xiaofeng feel supported by someone. The crying grew louder and louder. How could there be such an unsatisfied man like you in the world? Isn't the child yours? You have to treat us girls like this. Back then, I was so blind that I took a liking to you. Li Xiaofeng cried loudly while grabbing Sun Peng's arm and tearing it hard. He forcefully grabbed several blood marks from his arm. Sun Peng is indeed quite timid. Whenever there is a different person, one must also go back to the higher ups and downs. But even if my arm is scratched and bleeding, I still have no intention of resisting. Just keep your head down, thinking about your own problems. To be honest, what Suyang just said really moved him. Although he earns a high income from driving large cars. But he did not have a comfortable day either. Wearing cheap goods from Pingxi Shi, and drawing Zongnanhai for 7 yuan. Occasionally eating something good, but still being exposed to the light of 3 children. Whenever I want to be extravagant, my wife always says that having 3 children incurs a lot of expenses and I need to be frugal. But she constantly perms her hair and does beauty treatments herself. Now thinking about it, it's really frustrating. If you live alone, you can definitely live a good life. He also wants to experience a carefree life. But he just has soft ears. This idea only lasted for a while before being suppressed by persuasion from others and crying from his wife. Speaking of which, it's still because of Sun Peng's innate kindness. Li Xiaofeng has been unemployed for many years and has long lost the ability to make a living. If she gets divorced, how could she possibly afford to have 3 children? After all, we have lived together for so many years. He also couldn't bear to see his mother wandering on the streets. Thinking of this, Sun Peng sighed helplessly. A person in their 40s, half of their body buried in the soil, what are they still stirring up? I lit a cigarette again and started smoking with a complicated mood. The camera was constantly focused on Sun Peng, and netizens in the live broadcast room were already angry that he couldn't fight back. Now it seems that he is about to compromise, and he hates the beginning of the iron not turning into steel, riding vigorously in the barrage. Are you really enduring the turtle? Can you tolerate it so much? I thought this marriage would be a divorce, but you're still planning to be such a big loser. It's really pointless to find the book garden www.zhaozhuiyuan.com. They said so much. Don't say that woman scolds you, I want to scold you if you're a man. None of the 3 children belong to you. Can you be more sober? It used to be a conciliator Namuddle, but today the conciliator is so awesome that you don't listen. I'm almost infuriated by him. Netizens have all exploded. Suyang also looked helpless. I still stubbornly refuse to understand what I have said. You deserve to be a big enemy. Perhaps sensing Suyang's emotional changes, Sun Peng extinguished the cigarette in his hand. With an apologetic tone, little brother, I know you're doing it for me. But they can't survive without me. Although the 3 children are not my own. Sun Peng was brainwashed and began to tell Suyang what others had advised him to say earlier. But Suyang Kai doesn't want to listen. Before he could finish speaking, he interrupted with a strange tone, yes. Although the child is not yours, they can still call you Dad for over a decade. Sun Peng nodded. That's it. Although the children are not, at least they were raised by you. Sun Peng continued to nod. Born without raised relatives. Seeing his approval, Suyang was smirked and his tone became sinister. Although children are not yours, they eat yours, wear yours, and use yours. Although the child is not yours, the tuition fee is paid by you, the dowry is paid by you, and the wedding house is purchased by you. Anyway, there's no blood relationship. Big brother, do you still lack a son? Chapter 5. Are all three children forced? It's difficult to evaluate. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. After Suyang finished speaking, he looked straight at Sun Peng, waiting for him to answer. That look doesn't look like a joke at all. His gaze was so firm that he could even join the party directly. But at this moment, except for Suyang, everyone else at the scene remained silent. Grandma Zhang from the neighborhood committee, Sister Na from the program team, Officer Zhao from the police station, along with the lively neighbors watching. Collective silence. The chubby aunt who was still domineering just now also closed her mouth. She wanted to speak, but didn't know what to say. Sun Peng's face showed a look of confusion. He pondered Suyang's words carefully, and his face gradually began to change. Seeing Sun Peng like this, Li Xiaofeng dared not continue to go crazy and rubbed her arm anxiously. At the same time, the barrage became lively. The old iron pierced the heart. Although the child is not yours, he ate, drank, and used your food. Every sentence is poking the lung tube. The last time I saw such a bizarre brain circuit was last time. Recognize your father online, I really have you. But he also bought a wedding house for the dowry. The dowry and housing prices are so expensive now, who wouldn't be confused about it? Dad, broken sound. Brother upstairs, Dad can't shout recklessly. There are taboos inside. You're still young and don't understand the tricks here. Some words can change your life trajectory in the dark. A seemingly simple sentence will affect your life. You don't have the ability to grasp him. Listen to my brother's advice, withdraw these words and let him speak. Ha ha ha, are everyone in the live broadcast room joking around? This guy, Master Yin Yang. Impact value plus 880, at the moment of the barrage explosion. Sun Peng also figured it out. A pair of bloodshot eyes stared at Li Xiaofeng intently, gritting their teeth and saying, divorce. I don't care about others' sons. 3 sons, 3 dowries, and 3 sets of wedding rooms. If the child is their own. Even if he is exhausted, he still has to earn this money. Unfortunately, none of these 3 children are his own. Who should be the culprit? Having raised them for over a decade is already quite good. It's impossible to make him act like a cow or a horse again. Sun Peng was completely awakened at this moment. This marriage must be divorced. No big deal, give them all the savings at home. Over the years, there may not be much, but hundreds of thousands should be able to be saved. Take it and open a small shop to support 3 children without any problem. Doing so can be considered as the utmost benevolence and righteousness. But, Li Xiaofeng clearly cannot accept this fact. Do you dare to divorce me? You really don't leave any room for our mothers to survive. You're the one who kills $1,000. I'm fighting with you. Li Xiaofeng collapsed and rushed toward Sun Peng like a madman. In just a few seconds, it left several deep and shallow nail marks on his face, and even pulled blood out of Sun Peng's ears. Beat someone but not face them, let alone live streaming. Even if only these few people on site were watching, Li Xiaofeng should control her emotions and save some face for Sun Peng. Besides, she is still at fault. Dare to hit people so recklessly, and Sun Peng looks accustomed to it. No doubt, this scene must often be staged in this home. Netizens were all furious, and the barrage of bullets that made him fight back filled the entire screen. And the people responsible for mediation on site were already stunned by the phrase, divorce, just now. By the time they regained their senses, Sun Peng had already been scratched to the point of being unrecognizable. They pulled apart Li Xiaofeng. If you have something to say, hitting someone is not right. It's not something that can't be solved, don't take action. Calm down, fighting will only make the problem more complicated. At this point, Li Xiaofeng, who was under control, had a fierce face and disheveled hair. He looks like a crazy person. But Sun Peng was even more miserable. Not only did his clothes get torn and messy. Scratches were everywhere on the face, neck, and chest. If you casually wipe your neck, it will result in blood on your hand. Sun Peng became angry and pointed at Li Xiaofang, cursing loudly, "You crazy woman. I'm divorced now. Get out of here now. Take your child and get out of here." The rabbit is in a hurry and still bites people. Not to mention being human. If it were in the past, he could still use good men not to fight women to persuade himself not to have the same view as her. I will also remember to tolerate her in a marital relationship. But now he realized that Li Xiaofang was really not something. Not only did I wear a green hat on myself, but I also raised other people's children for over a decade. I still beat him in front of so many people now. He couldn't swallow this breath. This marriage must be divorced. Seeing Sun Peng determined to divorce, Li Xiaofang sat down on the ground, patting her thighs and crying loudly. "Why is my life so hard? How can I live as a woman with 3 children? Sun Peng, you have a ruthless heart. You're trying to force us to death." At this point in the matter, it is no longer possible to persuade and reconcile. But when the chubby aunt saw Li Xiaofang crying so miserably, a sense of justice burst out in her heart. She shouted loudly at Sun Peng, "If you're a man, take back your words. It's not easy for her to be a woman. Can't you consider her? I can't even bear this responsibility. What kind of man are you?" Auntie Pang's appearance seemed to make Li Xiaofang grab a life-saving straw. She crawled over and hugged Sun Peng's thigh, squeezing out tears. "Husband, you have to trust me. I have been forced these times. The former manager of the team, Mr. Wang, threatened me with your work. If I don't comply, he will dismiss you. What do you think I can do? It's been 10.5 days since you started driving, and you never know what I've experienced at home." Looking for Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com, Li Xiaofang described herself as innocent. Tears and a runny nose wiped all over Sun Peng's pants legs. And what she said left Sun Peng frozen in place. This incident had no less impact on him than knowing that the 3 children were not his own. He looked at Li Xiaofang with complex eyes. If it's really for his job, how can we divorce this marriage? But without a divorce, how can this bad breath be swallowed? Sun Peng once again fell into a dilemma. Unable to come up with a good solution, he simply vented his anger on himself. With a loud bang, the fist slammed hard into the wall. The knuckles of the fingers were suddenly bleeding profusely. Scared everyone present to shiver. However, Li Xiaofang's operation has indeed put her in a favorable position. Even a few netizens in the live broadcast room began to speak for her. If it's not voluntary, then it can be forgiven. What happened was, as she said, the divorce made it seem like this man was wrong. A woman's mouth is a deceitful ghost, one is being coerced, and all 3 are being coerced. You're right, everyone be clear-headed and don't be deceived by her. Lying down. This woman is so despicable. She's still arguing for herself now. The so-called authorities are obsessed. Sun Peng can be fooled by this clumsy lie, but Suyang won't. Cough. He let out a dry cough and set up pause to expose her lie. At this moment, suddenly, 3 boys burst out of the inner room. Chapter 6. Finding your own problems, can you do 1001? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mom. Mom, what's wrong with you? Dad, don't you want us anymore? 3 children ran out of the inner room, the oldest being over 16 years old and the youngest being 10 years old. They gathered around Li Xiaofang, looking pitifully at Sun Peng. Seeing her sons all coming out, Li Xiaofang cried even louder. The sound of thrusting in my mouth seemed to make me cry to death the next second. For this woman, Sun Peng has long lost any romantic feelings. Seeing these three sons, my heart still softened. He urged, "You go first. Don't worry about adults' affairs." But how could Li Xiaofeng miss such a good opportunity? Now her three sons are her biggest chips. As long as Sun Peng still has a slight reluctance towards her child, she still has a chance to turn things around against the wind. So she grabbed the three children and didn't let them go, crying and howling began again, "Why am I so unlucky? If I get divorced, what will my three children do in the future?" Li Xiaofeng cried, and the three children also started crying. The mother and son cried in a ball. Seeing this scene, Auntie Peng couldn't help but point to Sun Peng's nose and curse loudly, "Sun Peng, look at what you've done for yourself. Are you contemporary Chin Shimmy? I also want to do the dirty thing of throwing away my wife and children." Upon hearing this, Li Xiaofeng also wiped away tears to defend herself, "Husband, I really thought the child was yours before choosing to have it. I also want to pass on the family line for your old grandson. Can't you forgive me once?" Sun Peng was already very conflicted about this, and now he is even more indecisive. But he had to pretend that nothing had happened. That's not possible either. After much thought, he persisted in his own ideas. "I'll give you all the savings at home. Take your child and live a good life on your own." Being able to make such a decision is also Sun Peng's magnanimity. Logically speaking, he could have allowed Li Xiaofeng to leave the house without giving a penny. But due to past relationships and feelings for children, he is willing to let himself suffer some losses. But that's all there is to it. Marriage must be divorced. Unexpectedly, Li Xiaofeng couldn't accept Sun Peng's way of handling things at all. For over a decade, she has been managing money, and she knows better than anyone how much savings there are at home. Not to mention living a good life with the child, even if she spends it alone, it won't last for a month. Sun Peng, this big tree, will never let go even if she dies. Hello everyone, big brothers and sisters. After being neighbors for so long, don't you still understand my character, Li Xiaofeng? To be fair, am I really that miserable? It has to be said that Li Xiaofeng knows how to utilize the power of the masses. He knew that Sun Peng's ears were soft, and as long as there were many people helping her speak, Sun Peng would definitely waver. The saying goes, short hands make short mouths. Normally, Li Xiaofeng used some small favors to win over her neighbors, but now it really comes in handy. To be honest, Sun Peng's daughter-in-law's way of dealing with people and things is indeed good. I think it's okay to say goodbye. Yeah, look at how pitiful this orphan and widowed mother is, let's forgive her this time. Speaking of which, what's wrong with children? Do they really have the heart to not want them? This is how society is now. It's so chaotic that it's not like there was a news report earlier that a woman's twins were all different fathers. This kind of thing is so common now. Sun Peng, just calm down and live the life you deserve. These people should not have lower back pain when talking while standing, as things have not fallen on their own heads. Open your mouth and come with persuasive words. The netizens in the live broadcast room were so angry that they almost bit their teeth apart. Damn it. This woman is too powerful, ordinary men are not her match. Sleeping slut. Isn't this pure moral kidnapping? I've seen my blood pressure rise. Damn it. Honest people deserve it. What a shameless woman. She really opened her eyes today. Where's the mediator? Go ahead. Don't let her succeed. At this time, Suyang seems to be the internet mouthpiece of countless netizens, who are eager to wait for Suyang to make another move. Suyang didn't disappoint everyone either. He patted Sun Peng's shoulder, "Big brother, this is indeed your fault. Since my sister-in-law was forced, I can't forgive her once." As soon as Suyang spoke, Sun Peng was stunned. He thought that only Suyang understood him among the people present. But now even he says that. Sun Ping suddenly felt very helpless. Upon hearing that Suyang also said he wanted to forgive, the netizens in the live broadcast room also followed in confusion. What is this mediator up to? My 40-meter machete is almost unstoppable. Angry. Fight it too naively, throw out the urn. Everyone calm down, trust this guy. Don't worry, this little brother must be holding back a big move. Netizens guessed correctly. The situation of moral kidnapping is indeed difficult to break. However, Suyang is accustomed to talking nonsense, and this small question won't stump him. Big brother, you really need to understand my sister.in.law about this. Do you know how difficult it is to conceive now? Suyang extended 2 fingers and said, 20%. The chance of conception is only 20%. How many times does sister.in.law have to be forced to conceive these 3? As soon as these words were spoken, Li Xiaofang's face immediately changed. Once is coercion, every time is coercion. Anyone who has a bit of a brain can figure it out, if it's not for frequent tinkering. How could all 3 children be someone else's seed? Others who understood this also looked serious, pondering for the first time whether persuasion was wrong. Suyang's voice is still coming, big brother, you see my sister.in.law has suffered such a big crime. Let's part ways. The saying goes, a man has 40 flowers, and a woman has 40 but tofu residue. If you really get divorced, you can look for a wife who is a petite one. If she looks for her husband again, she might have to call him spouse. Although my spouse is good, she has a subsistence allowance. But her husband also has his own children. Can you give her all the flowers for her subsistence allowance at www.zhaoshuyuan.com? Do you think everyone is willing to suck blood for her like you are? So, this marriage cannot be divorced. What kind of man is he? He wouldn't even let her suck on this little blood. Besides, none of the 3 children belong to you, so you have to find your own problems. What if it's you who can't do it? This time, Suyang didn't distinguish between us and the enemy, and cursed together. At this moment, I am still hesitant. You deserve to be scolded. Sure enough, just as Suyang finished speaking, Sun Peng's face turned pale with anger. He knows best whether he can do it or not. I just know I'm okay, and the 3 children are not my own yet. He is even more angry. How many times did this adulterous couple cheat on him to create such a situation? Drive a big car outside, they drive a small car at home. At the thought of that scene, Sun Peng's eyes turned red with anger and his fists clenched with a creaking sound. I thought he would vent his anger on the wall like he did just now. Can be done in the next second. His fist landed straight on Li Xiaofang's face. Beat her so hard that stars appear in her eyes and her nose bleeds. This sudden scene frightened everyone at the scene. Auntie Pang was the first to react. Ah! Why are you still hitting women? This lion roar brought everyone back to their senses. For a moment, the room was in chaos. The crying of a child. Li Xiaofang's mournful cry. Auntie Pang's accusations and insults. Suddenly, all of them emerged. Chapter 7. Fighting cannot solve the problem, we have to fight. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. This punch is really solid. Not only did it make Li Xiaofang dizzy. It also stunned the netizens in the live broadcast room, and it took them a while to react. Crouching slot, this punch is a critical hit. It's still awesome, the mediator, who can't wake up such honest people without some harsh scolding. I found him playing a very new way of mediation. Hahaha, having a unique mindset is truly amazing. I can speak a lot, I love watching. Impact value plus 1025, at this moment. Sun Peng's anger level has reached its peak. Since getting married, this is the first time he has physically assaulted Li Xiaofang, but he does not regret it. If killing is not illegal, he even wants to end her with his own hands. A fickle woman, give him a green hat and let him raise wild children. I don't know what wrongdoing I did in my previous life, only then will I suffer such a crime in this life. Feeling that just one hit was not enough, Sun Peng lifted his foot and kicked Li Xiaofang's buttocks fiercely. Li Xiaofang had just been lifted up, and her nosebleeds had not stopped, when she was kicked again to eat shit. Sun Peng, are you finished? Come on, right. The police are still there. Auntie Peng stood in front of Li Xiaofang, glaring angrily at Sun Peng. When Li Xiaofang splashed and hit someone just now, she remained silent. Now Sun Peng is taking action, she has moved out all the police. This double standard is really fun. When Auntie Peng said this, others present also criticized Sun Peng. You old man, it's just that you're not right to take action. Men, it's better to be more magnanimous. Beat his mother in front of the child. You really are. It is called persuasion, but in reality it is accusation. Every sentence is saying that Sun Peng is not right. I'm just not magnanimous, he said angrily, it's not about oneself, hang high. When something happens to you, I'll see how magnanimous you are. Sun Peng yelled at these gossipy neighbors and then looked fiercely at Li Xiaofang. Do you hear me? I'm divorced from this marriage. You get out of here now. Sun Peng has always given the impression of being honest and straightforward. Such people are the easiest to be bullied. Now seeing his enthusiasm, these neighbors are even more unwilling. Even if they think Li Xiaofang is wrong, they will still help to suppress Sun Peng's momentum. You tell them to get out now, how can they survive if they go out? Children have been calling you Dad for over a decade, can't you just ignore it? Who has nothing to do with their family? If you break this point, you will end up getting divorced. You, as a man, have no sense of responsibility. Married to you for over a decade, there is no merit, there is also hardship. What problems can be solved by arguing over trivial matters? Yes. Arguing won't solve the problem. A group of women were spitting uncontrollably when a man named Suyang suddenly interrupted, appearing particularly abrupt. Everyone present looked at him in unison. Suyang smirked and said, did I say it wrong? Can arguing solve the problem? From Suyang's previous speech, they knew that this guy is a person who doesn't mind the big picture. It doesn't seem like trying to reconcile the couple as before. It's more like wanting to make them angry and divorce directly. Every sentence has its own meaning, and every sentence is full of strange energy. I'm not used to hearing him say something serious now. But it's also good to have someone speak for you. You're right, arguing won't solve the problem. The affirmation from the chubby ant. Suyang nodded and said, isn't that right? Arguing won't solve the problem, we have to fight. In one sentence, the scene quieted down. Everyone looked at Suyang in disbelief. Is it all like this, still making a fuss? Puff. Xiao Lu, who was in charge of the camera, couldn't help but laugh out loud. This smile also made netizens happy. What a talent. I just laughed and sprayed. Ha ha ha, was he invited by the monkey as a joke? I actually think it makes sense. If you can move your hand, don't move your mouth. Gonghua, you are professional. If you want to watch a fight, just say it directly, why be so tactful? Impact value plus 560, Sun Peng has been suppressing his emotions. Now that he heard the noisy sounds around him, his mood became even more irritable. Looking at Li Xiaofang, I wished I could devour her alive. However, Sun Peng has always been an honest person, and he is inherently kind. He has no intention of continuing to hit others, but he also doesn't want to spend too much time on divorce matters. Divorce it. The deposit belongs to you, take the child with you, and the residence committee and police station are all here. Let them be witnesses. Seeing that Sun Peng was determined to divorce, Li Xiaofang didn't mention it in a breath. I fainted directly. She fainted and the scene became chaotic again. Squeezing people, feeding water, massaging. Auntie Pang couldn't bear to watch anymore. She pointed at Sun Peng and said, "You've been a couple for over a decade. Even if you keep a dog, you should have gotten it done. Raising a dog only wags its tail, but it won't bring back the green hat." Auntie Pang was questioning, while Suyang was secretly poking and repairing the knife on the side. "You! Shut up!" The chubby aunt glared fiercely at Suyang, then turned to Sun Peng and said, "If we get divorced, what will happen to your 3 sons? If the relationship card between husband and wife cannot be played, then move out the 3 children. After raising it for more than a decade, there is always emotional connection." Sure enough, upon hearing these words, Sun Peng fell silent. Human hearts are made of flesh. It's impossible to say there's no emotion at all. Especially after Auntie Pang finished saying these words, the 3 children all looked up at her without hesitation. That innocent gaze cut Sun Peng's heart like a knife. In terms of children, Sun Peng still cannot be so outstanding. I was just about to say that he is willing to suffer some more losses and give some living expenses every month to help us support ourselves. Suyang spoke again, "What do you mean by his 3 sons? I just want to ask, which son is his from zhaoshuyuan.com. Suyang knew he shouldn't say these things in front of the child. But without being picky, Sun Peng won't make up his mind. In Suyang's view, the big injustice cannot be taken seriously. Even if Sun Peng can't let go of his child and is willing to take care of them on his own, he still needs to let these 3 children know what kind of mother their mother is. How much did their father give for it?" As soon as these words were spoken, Sun Peng's face turned ugly again. The most uncomfortable thing for him is that none of the 3 children are his own. Even if there was one, he felt that it wouldn't have gone so far. The incense of his old grandson's family has been cut off. Sun Peng, men can't be so stingy. Aren't you going to give up raising your son if he's not yours? A prosperous family is better than being alone. Auntie Pang didn't give up and continued speaking. But Suyang couldn't let her distinguish right from wrong, distort black and white. Continuing, yes, yes. When the fathers of the 3 children come to visit, the population will be even more prosperous. A family of 6, 7, and 8 is happy and harmonious. At this point, Sun Peng had already reached the brink of collapse, and now he heard them arguing repeatedly. Feeling increasingly restless, my hands tightly grasped my hair, sinking into deep pain. At this moment, Li Xiaofang, who had fainted, also woke up. She felt uneasy when she saw that the situation had not improved. I used the last trick of crying, making a scene, and hanging myself. Seeking death. Since you don't want us mothers, I'll just die with the child. After speaking, he picked up the smallest one and ran towards the window. Although the requirements of Chapter 8 are mentioned, they may not be met. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. This sudden scene frightened the people present and left them stunned on the spot. Fortunately, Suyang was close, so he immediately stood up and stopped the person. There is no danger. Although Li Xiaofang's commotion did not cause any substantial harm, it still scared everyone to death. And the netizens in the live broadcast room were even more enraged when they saw this scene. Crouching slot. Is this woman crazy? Tiger poison doesn't even eat seeds. Too ruthless, the wasp's tail needle is the most poisonous to women's hearts. Only after falling ill with blood mold can she be reincarnated as her child. Not all mothers in this world are worthy to be mothers. The 3 children were able to survive until now thanks entirely to their destiny. The first time I've seen such a mother. Animal behavior. The barrage is full of accusations and insults towards Li Xiaofang. Even the neighbors who advocated for reconciliation just now, after experiencing this incident, the conversation began to change. I didn't expect you, Li Xiaofang, to be such a person. You want to die on your own. What are you doing with your child? You usually behave quite well, I didn't expect you to be so vicious. He even said he wanted Sun Peng to forgive you. If he really reconciled you, it would be considered harmful. How could you be so embarrassed to seek death? You're such a ruthless person. Let's go, hurry up. Don't be such a woman. How much maintenance was done before, but now how miserable the criticism is. Even those staff members who were instructed to only reconcile now are eager for them to divorce quickly. To be honest, their thoughts were very simple at the beginning. As long as Li Xiaofang knows her mistakes and can correct them, in order to have a complete home for her 3 children. They will also try to persuade Sun Peng to accept everything. But now seeing Li Xiaofang so extreme, she is always searching for life and death. How dare they continue to persuade and reconcile? Isn't this pushing people into the pit of fire? But if we really leave? What about those 3 children? Following Li Xiaofang is the beginning of tragedy. Faced with this problem, the mediators present have all begun to face difficulties. And Li Xiaofang is indeed a shameless person, hearing such heartless accusations from people around her. Even a normal person would feel ashamed. Even if it's not going well, I will reflect on my own behavior. But she is such a peculiar person, not only unaware of her mistakes. Instead, he accused others. What does it matter to you if I take my own child to jump off a building? I'm his mother, I can give birth to him and I can end him. Such a beast speech not only angered everyone present, but also provoked netizens to give another round of Chinese cultural heritage. Damn it! How dare you say it? The king of hell has to lean aside when he sees her. Don't stop me, let me go kill her. But she's also right, I'll stand with the woman on this. Upstairs, what are you standing for? I'll give you another chance to reorganize your language. I stand on the female side. Grave head. Don't talk like that next time, I almost won't be able to retract my knife. Suyang is also the first time he has seen such a shameless person. Even he had to give a very fair evaluation. Awesome. Fearing that this crazy woman would do something extreme to harm the children, Grandma Zhang from the neighborhood committee directly brought the 3 children back into the house. Now, Li Xiaofang has completely become isolated and helpless. And now that this matter has developed, it is also about time to come to a conclusion. At this point, do you still feel the need for mediation? Suyang was just an intern mediator, but in the end, he started a big fight. When asked, no one else dared to speak up. How can we mediate this? What is the moral character of a woman worth their extra effort in this painting? If no one stops, then things will be easier to handle. Suyang took out a pen and paper and began drafting a divorce agreement in a dignified manner. He looked at Sun Peng and said, "What are your requirements?" After this commotion, Sun Peng was completely disheartened. He said decisively, "Just one request. Divorce now." At this moment, Sun Peng's gaze towards Li Xiaofang was filled with disgust. Married for over a decade, he worked day and night for this family. Give her good food, clothes, and occasionally help her family. I didn't expect to end up with such a result. Not only did he wear a green hat, but he also went crazy and hurt the child. Although none of the 3 children are their own, their hearts are all flesh. After raising it for over a decade, I still have feelings. Do you agree? Suyang turned his head to look at Li Xiaofang again. Perhaps knowing that there was no room for a turnaround in this matter, she couldn't help but speak up loudly. Divorce is okay, compensate me for the loss of youth. 1 million, not a penny less. Good guy. Opening your mouth means 1 million. How could she have the face to say it? The barrage suddenly exploded. Sleeping slot. Is she sick? She doesn't know what's going on now. Without a mirror, isn't she still peeing? Let's pee and take care of herself. What's your dream? Come and wake her up. Stay back from diabetes. Don't let her taste any sweet. Do you want 10 billion? I'll burn it for you right away. Call the subway judge online to uphold justice. The saying goes that a person without face is invincible in the world. I thought this was already the limit, but I didn't expect Suyang to underestimate her. I not only want 1 million, but this house also needs to be transferred and given to me. I can't do without a house as a woman. This is so special. It is impossible for any primate to say such a thing about not wanting a green lotus. Not to mention netizens, everyone at the scene was furious. Sun Peng's expression was even more unsightly. He only realized now that this woman was so greedy. This house is the only thing left to him by his parents. Why is she so embarrassed to ask? Due to Li Xiaofeng's bizarre behavior, the barrage volume in the live broadcast room has been increasing. As soon as the popularity increased, the number of online viewers directly exceeded 100,000. Zhaoshuyuan.com ranked in the top 100 of the platform's popularity chart for the first time. You should know, those who can make it to the platform's popularity chart. Either it's celebrity live streaming to promote products, or the cool little sister dressed in a brush dance. It is simply impossible for people's livelihood programs like them to make it to the hot list. This is the first time the program has been done for so many years. When Sister Na saw this result, she even took a photo of herself twice, thinking it was just a dream. But this is the fact. This program is going to be popular. The more netizens watch online, the more people criticize Li Xiaofeng. The anger level in the live broadcast room is so high that it's about to explode. I'm so angry, I'm going to curse. Move aside, I want to draw a circle with my mother as the center, relatives and organs as the radius, and make it bigger. Mediator, hurry up. I'm so angry that I'm about to explode. What else do you remember when she offered such outrageous conditions? Go ahead and scold her. Didn't you have a sharp tongue just now? Don't be impatient, everyone. I believe this little brother must have a solution. Netizens were almost spitting on Suyang's face. But he still calmly recorded Li Xiaofeng's unreasonable demands. I can't even mess with Sun Peng. He always thought that Suyang was on the same side as him. But now I see him taking this woman's demands so seriously. He couldn't help but suspect that Suyang wanted him to suffer this mute loss. Just as Sun Peng was feeling uneasy in his heart, Suyang's voice came over, feel free to ask. You don't have to be satisfied. Chapter 9. Who says only women have youth loss expenses? You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The backstage of the online mediation program team. Director Chen Bo laughed uncontrollably as he watched the soaring data. More than 100,000 online viewers. More than 300,000 bullet comments. The number of fans in the live streaming room account has exceeded 100,000. Each item of data has reached a historic high. This young man is really good. Suyang in the picture, white shirt and jeans, looking sunny and handsome. The appearance is already superior enough, and the conversation is still so interesting. As long as he speaks, the barrage interaction remains high. This program has been on for so many years, and it's the first time it's been so popular. Compared to Chen Bo's excitement, Deputy Director Su Lily is not as optimistic. The divorce rate in our magic city is already high enough. The main station explicitly prohibits mediators from making divorce choices explicitly or implicitly in the program. Look at him, just a roundabout reminder. Now it's okay, just write the divorce agreement by hand. What if the front desk investigates? Su Lily's words made the corners of Chen Bo's mouth, which had just been raised, fall back. This is indeed a problem. They rely on signing contracts with television stations to obtain financial support for this type of live broadcast program. If those leaders are really dissatisfied, will they still do this program? How about it? I asked Sister Na to stop him. Su Lily's probing inquiry. But as soon as she finished speaking, she was rejected by Chen Bo. No way. Not to mention anything else, this marriage should be divorced. But. No, but you don't have to worry about this. I'll come up with a solution. Speaking of Suyang sighed. When he said, if you ask, don't be satisfied. Li Xiaofeng's face instantly collapsed. Are you playing with me? I'm telling you, I'm not that easy to fool. This woman has taken her unreasonable behavior to the extreme. In addition, her quick and crazy behavior makes it difficult for even the netizens in the live broadcast room, not to mention the mediator on site. Like rolling knife meat, how can we mediate? Don't get involved with such women, even if you don't die, you have to peel off your skin. She's such a troublemaker, no matter how much she says, it's useless. A person who is lowly is invincible. I finally understand the meaning of this sentence. Netizens are filled with righteous indignation. The on-site mediator was not doing well either, and the chubby aunt who had been helping Li Xiaofeng talk before was so angry that her face turned red. Perhaps she felt like she had done something wrong earlier, and now she dare not say a word. The look in Li Xiaofeng's eyes was filled with anger and disgust. And the others present were all frowning. This matter is far more complex than they imagined. In fact, the least loss is still persuading them to reconcile. You don't have to pay for these messy money. 3 children also have a complete home. But when they see Li Xiaofeng's face clearly, who dares to persuade reconciliation? Although Sun Peng is honest, he cannot always be caught in a trap alone. So, they all pinned their hopes on Suyang. At first, he was seen as a troublemaker, but now he is seen as a savior. I just hope he can mediate a satisfactory outcome. Who dares to fool you? Suyang put away his pen and answered her perfunctorily. Then he turned his head to look at Sun Peng and said, this condition is not worth it. Upon hearing these words, Sun Peng felt a bit flustered in his heart. Is it really difficult to persuade him to compensate for the house? That's too suffocating. And Suyang's next words further confirmed his idea. How many 16 years can one have in life? We're going to divorce now, shouldn't we calculate the hard work we've put in over the years? This time, even Li Xiaofeng misunderstood. I thought Suyang was speaking for her. Suddenly feeling proud. In her eyes, Sun Peng is, to put it nicely, an honest person. To put it bluntly, it's a cowardly and indecisive big enemy. If she doesn't divorce, she can still live the carefree life she used to have. If divorced, with the breakup fee in a house, life will still be smooth. As soon as Li Xiaofeng thought about taking advantage of everything, she couldn't help but laugh out loud. Compared to her happiness, the netizens in the live broadcast room felt as uncomfortable as eating a fly. Laugh your butt, it makes me sick. Take the stinky socks I've been holding for 3 years and plug her mouth. What's going on with the mediator? When it's crucial, we can't just be indifferent. We must not agree to her. If we satisfy her, it will be rubbing our men's dignity on the ground. Damn it. Even a woman like me wants to hit her. Impact value plus 1720, the more people watch the live broadcast, the higher the impact value Suyang gains. At the same time as being beautiful in my heart, I have not forgotten the important things. He asked another question. Who does the child belong to? If you want a divorce, you can't avoid it. But when Suyang asked this question, everyone felt that he was asking it again. None of the 3 children were born to Sun Peng, so naturally they had to go to Li Xiaofeng. But as soon as Suyang finished speaking, Li Xiaofeng couldn't wait to say, I don't want it. As a woman, I can't support 3 children. The tone is decisive, there is no room for negotiation at all. When she said these words, Suyang saw the originally open door of the inner room being closed. This kind of motherhood is too heartbreaking for children. Do you want it? Who wants it? The child is not his. What's wrong? You still want Sun Peng to continue raising him. Do you want to have a face, woman? The chubby aunt has been controlling herself. Upon hearing this, her violent temper could no longer be suppressed. Capturing Li Xiaofang is like typing. More than just cursing Sun Peng. She was the one who scolded Sun Peng for being irresponsible before, and now she is also the one who scolds Li Xiaofang for being shameless. She finished all the bad things on her own. But her combat prowess is indeed amazing, she roared out loud. Li Xiaofang nestled like a quail in the sofa, much more honest. What I'm saying is the truth. I want my child. When Li Xiaofang was arguing, Sun Peng spoke up decisively. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone present was stunned. Even Li Xiaofang looked at him incredulously. This man is really foolish. Zhaozhuyuan.com even if it's not his child. Being a scapegoat and becoming addicted. But, except for Li Xiaofang, everyone else admires and feels sorry for Sun Peng's decision. Online viewers are no exception. The pattern opened up in one go. He's not his own child, even though he can choose not to, he still made this decision, he's a man. This is not something that ordinary men can do. If you give birth to kindness, you can repay it. But if you give birth to kindness, you cannot repay it. After 3 children, you must be filial to your father well. I won't say it anymore, brother. I'll compensate for 1. To be honest, Suyang was also surprised by Sun Peng's decision. But upon closer reflection, I understand very well. After all, it's my own child who has been raised for over a decade. If I were to follow such a mother, my whole life would be ruined. Sun Peng can take on this responsibility. Suyang really admires it. Okay. 3 children return to Sun Peng. Record this in the divorce agreement decisively. Li Xiaofang was feeling smug when she threw off a big burden. Suyang's voice continued to spread. Then let's talk about the compensation issue again. He pointed to Li Xiaofang's earlier request and said, we already have the standard answer. We will also claim compensation according to the requirement of 1 million yuan. At this point, Li Xiaofang realized something was wrong. What does it mean? Do I still have to compensate him? Upon hearing these words, Suyang chuckled, sister, who said only women have youth loss fees. Chapter 10. Don't be so reckless. If you don't agree, you'll see me in court. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Li Xiaofang didn't react for a moment. After hearing these words, the netizens in the live broadcast room felt relieved. Oh, that's right in my heart. Who said that only women have the cost of youth loss? Our men's youth is not youth. Finally, someone has spoken up for us. It is said that men and women are equal, and this must also be equal. Impact value plus 1250, she is often persecuted by female boxing. Whenever there is a topic of gender equality on the internet, men have endless struggles. This time, it directly opened up the conversation. If you want gender equality, the first thing you need to do is change the concept of raising a son from poverty to raising a daughter from wealth. I understand you upstairs, my wife has this mentality. My daughter wears hundreds or even thousands of clothes, and my son wears street vendors for 10 yuan each. Whenever she talks about it, she keeps nagging you incessantly, and I don't understand why. Once a man reaches adulthood, he starts to be a cow and a horse, and when he was young, he can't be good to him. I don't understand either. Nowadays, even though girls have an average appearance and a monthly salary of 2,000, they say that my monthly salary of 20,000 cannot match their technical skills. What is the standard of equality? Equality is only relative. Let's take marriage as an example. If you want a car, a house, or a dowry, all of these are prepared, no problem. But when asked about the bride's dowry, she would ask you back, I've given you all, what else do you want for dowry? Without saying anything. Harm, don't say it anymore, saying too much will bring tears. Impact value plus 1420. The discussion among netizens in the live broadcast room was lively, and Li Xiaofeng also questioned after reacting, do you still want me to compensate him? Suyang glanced at her and smiled, be confident, get rid of your thoughts. I just want you to compensate him. And the child belongs to him, and you can still pay for the child support. Suyang's tone remained light throughout. But there was a hint of reluctance in his voice, and before Li Xiaofeng could react, he continued. I am just an intern mediator and cannot determine the compensation standard. Thank you also for your reference. We also demand compensation according to the standard of 1 million yuan. As for the house, you probably don't have it. How about discounting it? With the current housing prices in Magic City, this house is still worth 3 to 5 million yuan. May I ask if you are in cash or by transfer? At this moment, Suyang's face was serious and didn't seem to be joking at all. Saying you want it, that's true. It was also at this moment that everyone understood the intention behind Suyang's careful recording of Li Xiaofeng's demands. I used to wait here. After understanding this, the netizens in the live broadcast room were immediately overjoyed. Ha ha ha, well done, that's how it should be. Shall I go there in a hurry? Is it so awesome? Shuang. If you're willing to repay kindness with kindness, you should use violence to control violence. Shrimp and pig heart, or the reference advice provided by this woman, please feel free. You can always trust Suyang, I love you. Impact value plus 1210. When Sun Peng heard that he not only didn't have to compensate, but also demanded compensation from Li Xiaofeng. The big stone in my heart has finally been let go. While he was incredulous, the gratitude in his eyes was also vividly displayed. The cost of raising 3 children is very high, and Suyang is helping him. Unlike Sun Peng's excitement, Li Xiaofeng clearly dislikes Suyang's approach. Why? I have been serving him for over a decade, why should I compensate him? If you want money, you don't have it. If you want life, you have one. Li Xiaofeng is completely anxious. I thought I could always get some benefits, but to my surprise, not only did I not get anything, but I also ended up getting myself involved. This is even more uncomfortable than killing her. Suyang smiled at the situation and said, why? Just because you are the one at fault in the marriage. Not only do you have to leave the house clean, but you also have to compensate Sun Peng for various losses. The child's alimony cannot be reduced at all. Don't give me that kind of desperate situation. If you don't want to mediate, you can meet in court. Suyang spoke without hesitation. While speaking, he was also recording with a swish. The legal system in this world is similar to that of a previous life. Although he didn't have a thorough understanding, it was enough to help Sun Peng clarify the legitimate rights and interests he wanted to fight for. Of course, both youth loss fees and housing are nonsense. The court will not support it, and Li Xiaofeng cannot bring it out. He said that just to scare that woman. What needs to be done now is to protect Sun Peng's existing assets and the future living expenses of his 3 children. Obviously, Li Xiaofeng was indeed intimidated. She saw that Suyang had already written a full page, so she wanted to pounce and stop him. But just as she took action, she was grabbed by the chubby ant. Don't move. You have to bear the consequences of what you do yourself. Being stopped, Li Xiaofeng immediately splashed it out again. Knowing that there was no one here to help her, she shouted loudly to shout out the child. Boss, boss. Your mother has been bullied. Come out and help me quickly. With a scream, the door to the inner room opened. 3 children walked out with their heads down. I thought I had another reliance, but when the children came out, they all hid behind Sun Peng. The 3 children were all very shy and didn't like to talk, but in the end, the boss spoke first. Dad, I am your child, and I will be filial to you in the future. Next up are the second and third. Dad, I will study hard and earn money to spend with you in the future. Dad, I'm also obedient. I'm not picky about food anymore. The voices of the 3 were weak enough for mosquitoes and flies to be heard clearly. The majority of people present were women. They were already emotionally rich, and now they can't hold it anymore. Zhaozhuyuan.com red eye sockets, wiping tears. All 3 children are sensible, much more conscientious than their mother. It's rare for such a mother on the stall to raise such a sensible child. It's not because Sun Peng is good people will definitely have good rewards. It's a bit tough now, it'll be better in the future. Our neighbors are all helping out. It's not enough without a woman at home. If there's someone suitable, everyone can introduce them. That's natural. The betrayal of 3 sons already made Li Xiaofeng very angry. Now hearing the discussions of the neighbors is even more infuriating, and opening one's mouth is like cursing. Chew your tongue randomly, be careful of your mouth rotting. You guys are not really good things. And you, I'm blind to marry such a dog like you. And you 3, all of you are white-eyed wolves. Since you want to push me to the brink of despair. Then I'll die and show you. Everyone has long been tired of watching this trick of crying, making trouble, and hanging oneself. Currently, no one takes it seriously. I couldn't help but wonder what else she could do. In the barrage, she was scolded throughout for being shameless. Bah! You deserve it if you suffer it yourself. Nima is really disgusting and has the face to talk about others. I am a lawyer, and if this woman doesn't agree, I am willing to represent her for free. Today, the mediator is awesome, and the netizen is more awesome. This is the result I want to see. I can't be of any help, I'll show my respect by brushing a rocket. Follow me.